My name is Jace Olson, and I graduated from UVU in 2015, but I attended BYU for the first 2 years, and I studied business management. Yeah, so I had a very rough experience at BYU. I met a lot of amazing people, but overall, it was the pinnacle of when I came out and had to deal with my own emotions and mental health issues. And so it really forced me to analyze, who I am and what I want out of life, and it helped me realize that I needed to, remove myself from that situation and transfer to UVU in order to protect my own mental health. So that was my coming out and progression through going to BYU. So I think it was for a variety of reasons. The academics obviously speak for themselves. It's an incredible school. I also wanted to obviously impress my parents and family members and peers and things like that. And so there's a lot of social pressure in that regard as well. And so for those two reasons, I went to BYU. So the other way around. So I transferred to UVU, and then I started to come out slowly to friends and family, and it was the best thing I ever did. Yeah, I never really had a coming out story. I never really, made a post or vocally came out to the public, but I also just tried to be myself. And I think over the years, I slowly started to tell more people and just be authentic, and eventually it just became normal. So I dealt with a lot of anxiety and depression when I was there. I actually went through conversion therapy when I was 18 years old, and I went to BYU following that conversion therapy. And so dealing with that and the dilemma with being gay and being, Mormon and things like that was a big struggle. And so that was a large part of my anxiety and depression, is living up to people's expectations for me and trying to rid myself of these feelings and insecurities that I had. And so, going through therapy and things like that and learning to accept myself help reduce those stresses and anxieties. Yeah, I think the big difference between attending BYU and UVU is that UVU, I didn't have the pressure to live up to some sort of expectation with the church and the honor code, and feeling like my college credits and my academic career was in jeopardy. And so going to UVU allowed me to breathe a little bit better, knowing that there's nothing that I can say or do that'll get me kicked out of this school, and that my college credits are protected. And so it was just more peace of mind that it gave me, and it allowed me to be free and more open. Obviously, UVU is a little bit more open than BYU and doesn't have that religious backing, and so it just gave me more freedom. Definitely, I 100% would agree with that statement. I was able to explore myself a little bit more, date other people, and not feel quite as guilty for doing it, and not feel like I was living up to some sort of expectation that I couldn't fulfill. So it was really liberating to do that. So I realized it probably when I was 13 or 14 when I started going through puberty, but I realized I didn't really connect the dots between being gay or homosexual until I was probably 16, when I realize that you don't have to necessarily be one certain type of person in order to be gay. You don't have to be, wear a certain type of clothing or act a certain way. You can just be you and be gay. And so not until I was about 15 or 16 did I really connect the dots and say, you know what, I am gay. So I decided not to serve a mission for a lot of reasons, primarily for my mental health. I was at BYU when I was 18, 19, and 20 years old, and so it was the hardest time to be there, where I was having that social pressure from professors and from classmates and things like that to go on a mission, and I didn't feel like it was right for me. I wasn't in a good mental state of mind with my depression and anxiety to go on a mission, and so my bishops would reiterate the fact that it probably isn't the right thing for you. I talk with my therapist, things like that, and they also would conclude the same thing. And so I just decided it wasn't for me. That's a good question. So I don't really find myself super religious in that sense, but I do believe in a higher power, if that's God or whoever it may be. And I believe that spirituality is key to a happy life. And so I really try to focus my energy and time on doing the right things and living by a moral code, and helping other people, and using my skills and abilities and talents to help the world and leave it a better place than I found it. So that's really where I find my spirituality. I would say be yourself, and don't listen to organizations or people or leaders that try to tell you that one size fits all, that you have to be a certain way in order to be happy. Be yourself, be authentic, be happy, be real, and the happiness will follow. I would just say be yourself, be authentic. The key to happiness is authenticity, I promise. I promise you it gets better.